Did you know that relapse does not begin the minute you pick up that first drink or drug? It actually begins weeks, sometimes months before that even happens. Which brings us to today's video. We're going to talk about the 3 stages of relapse. What is up? How you doing? Welcome to Ravenspassage. My name is Linda, and I help walk people through the pain of addiction to living free in sobriety by sharing my journey in recovery. If this is your first time here, welcome. I have been in recovery since 2015, and I'm creating a community with like-minded people where we can talk freely, openly, and honestly about both addiction and recovery. And if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please show that like button some love, hang out, and let's get into it. When I relapsed 3 times in the last year of my active addiction, I thought the relapse started when I picked up. What I didn't know, though, is that there's actually 3 stages: emotional, mental, and physical. So with that said, let's get into number 1. Stage 1, emotional relapse. Relapse actually begins emotionally, which means that the person is not actively thinking about drinking or picking up a drug. Instead, their emotions and behaviors are worsening, which can lead to a relapse later on. There are certain signs that show when someone is emotionally relapsing. And so for me, I was very irritable, easily frustrated. I started isolating. I wasn't attending my meetings as often as I do, which is 4 to 5 times a week. And I got down to 1 to 2 times a week, which is really not good for this alcoholic. Also, when I was attending the meetings, I wasn't sharing about what my thoughts were and the feelings that I was having about things, as well as I wasn't practicing self-care, I wasn't eating well, I wasn't sleeping well, I wasn't asking for help, I was putting others first before taking care of myself, which is really not good for me. My family and loved ones know that my recovery and my well-being has to come first. Because anything that I put before my recovery and my well-being will eventually come second, third, and not at all. Because if I'm not taking care of myself, it's going to lead right back to where I left off some years ago. So just, bottling everything up, just behaviors and emotions are just toxic, and that's not the place that I live in today. But in emotional relapse, that's what it looks like. And it is essential to change behavior, be more positive and engage in recovery, sobriety activities. Because if that doesn't happen, if I don't take steps to correct what's happening in an emotional relapse, I will end up in stage 2. And stage 2 is a mental relapse. Stage 2, mental relapse. If the person doesn't take steps to change the behavior that's happening in the emotional relapse stage, then it's very, very likely that they're going to fall into the mental relapse stage. And what that looks like, and especially for me, this is what it looked like. It was like having this war going on in my head of where I'm really starting to contemplate and think about drinking. And before I even continue, it's completely normal to have thoughts about drinking, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm in recovery, I never think about drinking. It's like a fleeting, passing thought. But at this point in a mental relapse stage, like, I'm seriously thinking about it. I'm contemplating it, right? And then I'm thinking, then it's like, why would I do that? Why would I want to drink? I don't want to drink. I know what's going to happen if I do. I know where I'm going to go back to, and, on and on. And yet I'm extremely restless, irritable, discontent, and uncomfortable in my own skin. And the longer that I'm in that space, the more I want to escape, right? So it goes from having these brief, quick thoughts of, having a drink, to now I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about it a lot. And I'm thinking about how I could do it if I wanted to, right? Like, my husband works this, or my son is here, or my person here won't know. And I really start working it out in my head on how I could do it if I really wanted to do it. And I start thinking about all the remember wins, right? And I start romanticizing my drinking and how I would do it differently. And I'm not being completely honest with people that I love or myself about what I'm feeling. And it's starting to get really dangerous, right? And so stage 2, mental relapse. What happens at this point, if I don't share with someone where my head is, it's going to fall into stage 3, which is physical relapse, and it's going to happen quicker than you can even see it coming. Stage 3, physical relapse. Now, this is what happened to me each and every time right before I picked up that first drink. So I didn't talk to anybody about wanting to use. I didn't tell anybody about the cravings that I was having. I didn't tell anybody about the feelings and the thoughts that I was having. And I wasn't taking any steps to seek help with what was going on inside of my head. So what happened was the thoughts got more and more, and they got to be so loud and louder and louder that the addiction eventually was screaming in my head, and it was so shrill and it hurt so bad that I had to make it stop. I felt like the only choice that I had was to pick up to make it stop. And I'm here to tell you that even when you want to drink, even when you have thoughts of drinking, it doesn't mean you have to pick up. There are still abilities, still ways, still options that you have before you pick up that first drink or drug. But I'm also going to tell you at this point, at this stage, it's so hard. It's so hard to do that before I knew it, I had something in my hand and it was up to my mouth. And at this point, I felt like all bets were off and I had no choice. And so this is what happened when I did pick up. I had the thought of, well, now I started, I might as well continue. And I felt like a failure. What I didn't know is that I still had choices. I still had steps that I could have taken to not pick up that second drink. And what those steps were is that I could have picked up the phone and I could have called somebody in recovery and said, look, I just picked up. I don't want to pick up again. What do I do? Or, hey, I just picked up and I'm going to pick up a second drink, but I don't want to really do that. What do I do? There are still steps that I could have taken to stop that cycle from starting again. I didn't know that I could do that. I'm here to tell you that if you're watching this video right now, and if you have a drink in your hand, you can still reach out and ask for help. And I'm going to actually put a number down below where you can call someone and be able to ask for help, even right now, if you're actively drinking. Because you don't have to pick up that second one, or that third one, or that fourth one. Whatever one it is that you're on right now, you don't have to pick up that next one. You do have options. You do have choices. And you do not have to continue to drink and drug. And there we have it. The 3 stages of relapse. Thank you so much for hanging out here with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Did you know that there was 3 stages of relapse? Was this video helpful to you at all? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. I am all about interaction, connection, and learning from others. And you will see me down in those comments replying to each and every one. And if you did enjoy this video, please show that like button some love. In doing so, it'll help get around YouTube some more, and it very well will end up in front of the next person that could benefit from hanging out here with us. Thank you so much for doing that. And most importantly, I want you to remember that you are worthy, you are loved, and you are enough. Until next time, my lovelies, be nice to yourself. Huge hugs. Bye.